So, happy anniversary, Unai Emery. He joined Arsenal exactly 1 year ago today. And on that day, he joined our famous club. We all remember the unveiling of Unai Emery and the explain. I want to explain. Absolute legend. Loved him the first day he arrived. I was so happy, so over the moon that we'd finally replaced Arsene Wenger. I've been calling for a long time for that to happen. And it's been a season of ups and downs. The season hasn't quite finished yet. We're in the Europa League final in less than a week now. Next Wednesday, 6 days, and we take on Chelsea in Baku. Now, in that time that he's been at Arsenal, he's broken a couple of records along the way. One of them records was he won the most amount of games in the first 50 games as Arsenal manager in our entire history. He got 32 wins. George Allison is second with 28 wins. Herbert Chapman and George Graham are then next with 27 wins. Arsene Wenger is drawing with Don Howe on 23 wins. So 9 wins more than Wenger. If he goes on to win a couple of Premier Leagues, then I'll be happy with that as well. But at the end of the day, he came in. It was a breath of fresh air. We all see the training clips where the players were being put through their paces. They were working hard, harder than normally. The players were coming out and saying that they've never worked so hard. They were training with intensity this time. And I think over the years, I think the players just got a little bit too comfortable under Wenger. And I think it was a comfortable football club. We obviously remember after game number 3 against West Ham, he dropped Mesut Ozil, and that was a massive shock to a lot of people. We'd lost the first 2 games against Man City and Chelsea, and then he dropped Ozil. We obviously won the game, which was nice, and that kick-started a 22-game unbeaten run, which was unbelievable. Some fantastic goals along the way. Ramsey's goal against Fulham, flowing move, lovely backheel finish. Before that as well, a lovely little team move. Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette all involved, and Aubameyang tapping it in from a nice little chip pass from Ozil. So yeah, we were playing some good football at the time. We then had a little bit of a mini meltdown around December sort of time, and then we picked it back up again, and then we fell apart. The last 6-7 games we just capitulated in the Premier League, but at the same time, we have got to a Europa League final, and to get there in his first season is nothing short of fantastic. A couple of hiccups in that as well. We lost away to Bate Borisov of all teams, a team that we absolutely poleaxed the season before. We lost to Rennes 3-1, but both games we overturned in the second leg at the Emirates. Against Napoli, took them apart at the Emirates, absolutely destroyed them. It was only 2-0, but it could have been 12-0. They rode their luck. We then done them away, got Valencia in the semi-final. Started that game, both games in that against Valencia quite poorly, in fact. Started with a goal down very early on, but both games were very similar in terms of the fact that we got straight back into the game. And we ended up winning, which means we are now in the Europa League final. Obviously, our league campaign, we finished 5th, 1 point behind Tottenham, 2 points behind Chelsea in 3rd. We finished with 70 points, which was 7 points more than last season. However, it was 5 points less than the season before, 1 point less than 2015-16 season, which, funny enough, we actually finished 2nd behind Leicester City, 10 points behind Leicester that season. But the difference in quality in the league now compared to the previous seasons is massive. Man City and Liverpool are setting the pace. They are breaking away with untold amounts of points. It's just ridiculous the amount of points they're getting. And if you don't win pretty much every game, you ain't got a chance. Let's be real. To get into the top 4, we shot ourselves in the foot, I think. We had the easiest running on paper. We had the likes of Leicester, we had Palace, we had Wolves. And we just capitulated. Like I said, Brighton as well, we drew at home. And if we're just, even the game against Tottenham, if Aubameyang scores the penalty in stoppage time, if it had gone the way it had gone after that, we would have finished in the top 4. We would have qualified for Champions League in his first season. But we still do have a chance to do that in the Europa League final, and I'm fully confident going into that game. But overall, I think that since Emery's been here, I think that he still doesn't quite know his best 11. He was hampered with injuries as well. Danny Welbeck, Hector Bellerin, Rob Holding. Three players that all took season-ending injuries very early on as well in the season. And all three of them have played a big part in our unbeaten run and how well we put that game run together. Hector Bellerin was chipping in with some nice crosses, getting some assists on the board. Rob Holding was the only one capable of walking the ball out of defence without getting a nosebleed. Since then, Socrates, Koscielny, Mustafi, Monreal, none of them are as comfortable on the ball out of defence as Rob Holding, and that is somewhere we badly need to strengthen this summer. A ball-carrying centre-back. I remember the game against Tottenham, the 4-2 game. Rob Holding spent more time on the edge of Tottenham's penalty box than he did on the edge of ours. And, you know, we definitely need to rectify that. Obviously, he's coming back. He's back into training now. Not going to be fit enough for the Europa League final. Danny Welbeck is going to be fit for the Europa League final as far as I'm aware, but he is leaving. So is Aaron Ramsey, another one that took an injury that ended his season with about 6 games to go. No coincidence that we were playing some good football when he was in the team. He was chipping in with goals, and then he gets injured and we just fall apart. Another player we need to badly replace this summer. We've allowed him to run his contract down and allowed him to walk away for nothing. And let's be real, if he was under contract, he's a £50 million footballer. And we've just allowed £50 million to walk straight out of the club, free of charge, and walk straight into Juventus. So fair play to him. But, you know, Unai Emery didn't really have that decision, I don't think. I think that decision on Ramsey was more the board and the owners clubbing together and saying, look, it's not financially viable to strap him up to a massive weekly wage, especially when we've got Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, Mesut Ozil, all on high wages as well. So for the good of the club, it wasn't good to put him on that wage bill as well on 250, 260 a week. But overall, I think Unai Emery's done a pretty decent job, if I'm being completely honest. You know, to come in after a manager that's been here for 22 years, every player at the club was comfortable. The only one who looked like he wasn't comfortable was Lacazette. He looked like he was the only one that was actually out there trying to better himself and trying to achieve something. I mean, last season, some of these players were just an absolute disgrace to the badge. You know, we see players just downing tools. They've sort of downed tools a little bit this season, which worried me a little bit with the last 6 games. But I think that they more put their eggs in the Europa League basket, really. Which I wouldn't have personally done. You've got to go for both. We're Arsenal. We're not just a tin pot club, are we? We should be fighting on both fronts. And to miss out on Champions League by 1 point is so disappointing, especially the way we went on that unbeaten run. The way that we've played some of the games. I mean, earlier in the season, we were riding our luck, and eventually it caught up with us. But, you know, we had some really good games along the way. And like I said, the Fulham game, the Leicester game, we played some fantasy football in some of the games, you know. Man United away, first time we've played well up there for a long time. Yes, we got slapped by Liverpool 5-1. We got beaten by Man City at the Etihad as well as at home. But the results over the course of the season against the bigger teams was something we needed to massively improve. And I think we've done that this season. We're in with a massive shout to get in the Champions League. Like I said, I think we'll do that. But all in all, I'd say that his first season has been a success. You know, we finished with more points than the previous season. We finished higher up the table than the previous season. We missed out on a top 4 by 1 point, which is a massive improvement on last season as well. We finished closer to Man City. I know it's not much closer, but it's still an improvement. More points, more away wins, more home wins. We scored more goals. Yes, the defence, we conceded the same amount of goals as last season, but like I said, when you've had 2 massive injuries in 2 of your back 4 or back 5 with Bellerin and Holding, it was always going to be an uphill task to plug them gaps, especially when you're putting Monreal and Mustafi in, or even Koscielny, although he's been fantastic this season when he's played. So, I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I just thought I'd do a little video, celebrate the fact he's been here for a year now, and hopefully in 6 days' time, he will be holding that Europa League trophy up aloft. And what an achievement that would be if he can do that in his first season. Don't forget, go back and check out my live stream from earlier on this afternoon, where I spoke about Raul and Vinay, their sit-down chat with Laura Woods. I went through the talking points of that. gave my thoughts and opinions on it, and then answered loads of questions in the chat box. So go and check that out if you haven't. If you have, don't forget, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m, daily transfer update, where I'll be looking at a couple of players that we are being linked with on the day. Until then, I'm out of here. Laters, peeps.